We now come to video number 8, in which we are going to start with our unit number 3, determination of income and employment. We learnt in a two-sector economy, we had firms and households. Households provided the factor services for which firms would provide factor income. Factor services meaning employment to all those who are able to work and willing to work at the prevailing wage rate. A condition in which all are employed is full employment. There should be no problem as whatever is produced will be consumed. But what if AD or aggregate demand is less than aggregate supply? This would mean less demand and fall in general price of commodities, which would imply the rise in unemployment. And if this continues, it would lead to recession. This happened in 1929, the year of Great Depression, which affected the whole world. It was a British economist, John Maynard Keynes, who made an attempt to understand the Great Depression and advocated for increase in government expenditure and lower taxes to stimulate demand and pull the global economy out of depression. An activist fiscal and monetary policies we have learnt in the previous chapter, banking, are the primary tools recommended by Keynes to manage the economy and fight unemployment. His argument gave birth to macroeconomics. So far we learned the national income accounting for the given actual values of consumption, investment and output of final goods. But these may also denote the planned values of consumption, investment and output of final goods. When the aggregate demand of final goods is equal to the aggregate supply at a given price level, we call it an equilibrium level in an economy, or the economy is at equilibrium. With an increase in investment, the aggregate output tends to increase and the larger through the investment multiplier process. This is what we learned in the previous chapters. Then what are the assumptions to determine national income? There are two assumptions. The first, fixed price of final goods. There should be a fixed price of final goods. And the second one is that the rate of interest is constant. Now the actual values of consumption, investment and output are called as ex post measures. And the planned values of consumption, investment and output are called as ex ante measures. The ex ante variables are the basis of determination of national income. There are planned values, that means before an expenditure is made, we make our plans for consumption. The households make a plan for consumption, the firms make a plan for investment and the output. So the ex ante variables are more important because that is what will help us in determination of the national income. Now since we are talking about consumption, investment and output, let us first consider the consumption. So the consumption function is given by C is equal to C bar plus By. This shows that consumption depends on income. Now what is a consumption function? It is a function that describes the relation between consumption C and income Y of a household. So the variables that are represented over here are C is a consumption expenditure by the households, Y level of income in the economy, C bar is autonomous consumption, and B is slope of the consumption function. Now what is autonomous consumption? Autonomous consumption means that consumption which has to be made even when there is no income. It would mean that even when you don't earn an income, you do make a necessary consumption expenditure on food, clothing, etc. for survival. That is what is called as autonomous consumption, represented by C bar. Let's now understand this with the help of a graph. Now here we have the consumption curve. On the x-axis, we represent income and the output, and on the y-axis, we represent consumption. Now this is the consumption curve. We said consumption function is C bar plus BY. This C bar is autonomous consumption. That means when the income is zero, there is some amount of consumption made by the household on necessary items for survival. That is called autonomous consumption. So when the income is zero, the household makes some consumption, let us say here. Okay. So from here, the consumption curve goes up. So it's a positive slope, showing that as the income increases, the consumption also increases. So let us say when the consumption, there will be a point where income and consumption will be equal. Let us say that at this point where income is equal to 500, consumption is also equal to 500. We have taken some random 2 points. At this point, when the income increases from 500 to 600, the consumption also increases from 500 to 580. Consumption has increased because there is an increase in the income. Now this change in income has brought a change in consumption. The change in income is given by delta Y and change in consumption is given by delta C. Slope of a curve is given by dx by dy mathematically. So slope B, let us say this is the slope B, will be given by change in consumption by change in income. So delta C by delta Y. And that is what we represent over here. So when there is a change in income, what part of it is consumed is given by this graph. Now what are the components of consumption function? We know C is equal to C bar autonomous consumption plus BY. This BY is induced consumption. This has to be made, and this is the required or the induced consumption. Let us look at an example. Suppose consumption C is equal to rupees 100 crore plus 0.8 Y, and the level of income is rupees 800. Now this 0.8, if we go back to this graph, we will find B is given by delta C by delta Y. Here delta C is 580 minus 500, which is equal to 80, divided by delta Y. Delta Y is 500 to 600. The income has increased from 500 to 600, which is equal to 100. So the slope will be given by 80 by 100 equal to 0.80. Now coming to this problem, C bar is equal to rupees 100 crore, which is called the autonomous consumption, and BY is given as B into Y, 0.8 into Y. So 0.8 into y is given as 800. Putting the value over here, you get by is equal to 640 crore, which is the induced in consumption. Now b is called the slope of consumption function we just now saw, which is also called marginal propensity to consume. What is marginal propensity to consume? Any change in income would bring about a change in consumption. A unit change in income will bring a unit change in consumption. So that is what is marginal propensity to consume, which is given by B. Now what are the values of marginal propensity to consume? This marginal propensity to consume lies between 0 and 1. If change in consumption is 0, then marginal propensity to consume will be 0. Why? Because delta C by delta Y, when Y is 0, or with some income also, when change in income is 0, 0 by any number will give us 0. If change in consumption is equal to change in income, then MPC or marginal propensity to consume will be given by delta C by delta Y, which is equal to 1. If delta C or change in consumption is less than change in income, then marginal propensity to consume will be less than 1, because consumption is lesser than income. Consumption per unit of income is called average propensity to consume, represented by APC. As it reads, consumption per unit of income. Consumption per income gives us the average propensity to consume. Let us understand this with the help of an example. Suppose consumption is equal to 100 crore plus 0.8, which is the slope, into income. At 0 income, consumption is equal to 100 crore, because this becomes 0. But when y is equal to 100, that is income is 100, then what is the value of consumption? Consumption will be equal to 100 plus 0.8 into, now income is 100, so into 100, that will give us 180 crore. Therefore, average propensity to consume is C by Y, which is equal to 180 by 100 equal to 1.8. When income is equal to consumption, then average propensity to consume will be C by Y equal to 1, because C is equal to Y. So that will give us 1. To understand it better, let us look at graphically. Here again we will represent consumption on the y-axis and income and output on the x-axis. From the previous example we saw when the income was 500, consumption is also 500. So we are here. When the national income is given by this y is equal to, that is y is national income. Income is equal to consumption plus saving. Consumption plus saving gives us the total income. Now consumption curve starts above 0, goes up because it's a positive slope, meets this national income at a point. This point is where income is equal to consumption. Such a point is called as break-even point. This area that lies below the break-even point is called dis-saving. Why is it called dis-saving? Because for consumption, you depend on your savings to consume. Whereas the area that lies above the break-even point will be called as saving, because as the income increases, consumption definitely increases, but a part of that income is also saved. So this is saving and this part is called dis-saving. Why is this 45 degree over here? Because as the income increases, consumption also increases. Let us solve a numerical here. For the same consumption is equal to 100 plus 0.8y, find C bar, slope of consumption function, and B, level of income at break-even point. Given C is equal to C bar plus By, let's put the values. C bar is given as 100 plus 0.8 into Y. So C bar is 100, that is autonomous consumption. B, slope of the function, which is given by MPC or 0.8. Since this reads C bar plus By, B is equal to 0.8. Now the next question. At break-even point, we know that consumption was equal to income. So income is equal to Y is equal to 100 plus, because C is equal to Y, instead of C we write Y here. Y is equal to 100 plus 0.8y. Rearranging them, we get Y is equal to 500. That's what we saw. Income was equal to consumption for the same given consumption function. Now here is a problem that you can try. Given the consumption function, C is equal to 100 plus 0.75y. Calculate C bar and slope. If you put the function over here, you will get the values of C bar and the slope. The level of income at break-even point. Break-even point is a point where consumption is equal to income. Put the values to get the answer. Here's another question. If national income is 50 crore and consumption 45 crores, find APC. What is average propensity to consume? C by Y. So simply put the values to get APC. When income rises to 60 crore and consumption by 6 crore, find APC and MPC. Now this is a change in income and change in consumption. Put the values to find average propensity to consume and marginal propensity to consume. This is a schedule. When income is 0, consumption is 40. What is APC? 40 by 0 equal to 0. What is MPC? Here you don't have any change in income or change in consumption, so this will be a dash. Then at 50 income, consumption is 70. So what will be the APC? C by Y. Similarly, change in income by change in consumption by change in income. Similarly, for various levels of income at 100, 150, 200, you can find the values of APC and MPC. Just put the values to get the answers. Now, what are the questions that are expected? The ex post and ex ante variables. Another question is components of aggregate demand and slope of consumption curve or MPC. In the next video, we'll discuss about saving and investment.